Bob Goff is an author, speaker, and professor who wants to see people fully embrace and do life the way Jesus wants us to. He's also the founder of Love Does, a nonprofit organization that supports human rights in some third world countries. His new book, Dream Big, is based off of his Dream Big Framework workshops, which focus on how we can make our dreams a reality. Please welcome Bob Goff.
Bob, hi, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks a million. Great to be talking to you, Bobby.
You live in California, right?
I do. I live in San Diego, and we just bought this camp. It used to be called Oak Bridge, but now it's called the Oaks, and we've been working on it for about 7 months. It's been a big dream.
That's awesome.
It's been an ambition to create a place. Didn't you do
I went to Oak Ridge. I did. I went to Indian Village first, and then I went to Oak Ridge afterwards, all through junior high. I kissed my first girl there on the swing under the tree. Yes, I did.
Get out of town.
Can I see it? Can you turn it around and we can see where you are?
Yeah, totally. Come on, get in here.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to start scanning.
That's awesome.
For your initials everywhere. Yeah.
That is rad.
Every oak tree that has your initials on it. So now I know the backstory.
That is so cool. So you bought Oak Ridge, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We decided my ambition has been to be a grandpa. I've been since junior high school, since the time you kissed that girl. And but I finally became a grandpa. And what I want to do now is just be available.
Yeah.
And there's power in availability. And so that's the way it is with ambitions. You just need to know what you want, why you want it, decide what you're going to do about it.
Well, that's cool. We're so excited to have you. You have a lot of big fans on the staff here. So many of us, including me, we love your books. Of course, everybody knows your first book, Love Does, and then the second book, is it Everybody Always? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's it.
So both great books, and you're such a great storyteller, and I love how I guess it's a nonfiction book, but it feels like you get wrapped up in your personal story of how to love people. And I love the balloon thing. You have so many ways that you just bring so much joy and happiness to people's lives.
Well, I think that's what happens. Jesus said he never spoke to anybody without telling them a story. Yeah. And I know why, because now when I'm walking around here, I'm going to be thinking about your experience at Oak Ridge as a junior high kid. And that's the way it is. When we talk, I think Jesus, the smartest theologian ever, and he points to two sheep and he says, it's like when one of those gets away. And everybody goes like, I know exactly what that's like.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, when it happens.
That's great. One question I wanted to ask you, I want to talk about your new book. But before I do, one thing that always is so interesting to me, I mean, for those who don't know you, you were an attorney, a professor and stuff, but I think you're really well known more as an author now, and a speaker, but you put your cell phone number at the back of every book you write, which is crazy because you've sold millions of books, haven't you? And people, it's like your cell phone. So if somebody buys your book and they flip to the back and they find your cell phone and they call, there's a good chance you're just going to answer and talk to them. What is that like? That must be crazy.
Yeah, there was this young guy that called me a little while ago and he said, Bob, I want to know the one thing about relationships. I'm like, you haven't had a girlfriend yet, have you? Because there's actually many things. It'd be like asking an astronaut, what's the one thing about getting to the moon? It'd be like, I don't know, arrive. But what I would do if I want to get to the moon is I'd find somebody who'd done it before. And I'd spend a ton of time talking about who was in the capsule. And then I would just get the moon in the window and keep pointing at it. So whatever it is that people want the most, get it in the window. If it's your faith, get it in the window.
But you can't still do that, right? You don't still answer the phone, do you? When people call?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
You still do? How many calls? You must get tons of calls a day. What about, when do you get time for Bob? Aren't you always?
It's crazy. But here's the deal. This would not work for Sweet Maria Goff at all.
Yeah.
But actually, I just noticed that Jesus was constantly available. Yeah. And that doesn't make me Jesus. It makes me like Jesus.
Yeah.
And so we can't decide how tall we'll be or short we'll be. You can't decide how wealthy you'll be, but you can decide how available you'll be. And I just decided to be uber available before there was even Uber.
Yeah.
So it's actually been terrific.
And you might say Maria, your wife, Sweet Maria, as you call her in your books, you might say that she maybe isn't called to do that, but maybe you are. She's called to be available in different ways, but this is a way that, it brings you joy, right? It's fun for you to do this.
Oh, totally. And the crazy thing, Sweet Maria and I, when they said we got married, she finally relented. And they said the two of us will become one. She thought we were going to become her. I'm like, oh, heck no. But here's the deal. I'm not trying to be like her, and she's not trying to be like me. We're trying to be like Jesus.
Amen.
And for me, I see his availability. And those are the people that have influenced me the most. It wasn't the smartest people. It was the people who were most available.
Amen. That's so good, Bob. Thank you. Well, I'm really excited to read your new book. I haven't read it yet. I know it'll be awesome. I read both of your other books, and they're just great. They're so fun and encouraging and inspiring. And this is a perfect title for you. I mean, it's a pretty simple title. It's called Dream Big. And what's the book about, and where did you come up with this idea to write this book? I mean, this is a crazy time, I mean.
It is. I think so many people are just worn out. We've been whipsawed. It's going to take a lot of couch time for us to sort all this out. But one of the things that will disappear when you're a little stressed out is your ambitions, your dreams. And I just want to get back to building that rocket ship that was supposed to be your life. And sometimes you had a dream. Let's say it was something that you had an ambition for the first 12 years of your life. And then Billy said no. Like you applied for the job or you tried for the whatever it was that was important to you. And then you feel like you say, God shut the door. It'd be like, that did not happen at all. Billy said no. That was the only transaction that happened. So I want to say, what were your beautiful ambitions? And then ask not what do you want, but just why do you want it? Because if you want applause, I mean, join the circus. But if you want Jesus, then find people who are hurting. And then have these authentic conversations with them. And in taking an interest in their ambition, they'll actually find your ambition. And so this was an ambition of mine. I'm a grandpa now. You know what's crazy? I've got a grandson. He only knows one word, apple. And so an apple is an apple. I'm an apple. Sweet Maria is an apple. A car is an apple. I'm hoping by the time he gets to high school, he knows 2 words. But I want to find more words to describe the things that you've wanted for a really long time. Don't just say, I want to be happy, because me too. But just say, what would make you happy? I mean, really, really, what's going to outlast you? And that's where the good stuff seems to happen.
Yeah. When I hear you talking about this, I can think of all of the many people who grew up in pretty strict religious households, and they have this, virtue, and it is a virtue to be humble, to be, a learner. But sometimes some churches go so far with that they almost it's almost bad to dream. It's bad to, or like you said, even use the phrase, be happy, things like that. There's this religious I feel like baggage that a lot of people carry, and they get a little like when they hear a Christian, a pastor, or someone like you say, dream big, they're a little bit like, oh, I don't know if that's okay. I mean, what do you say to that as a believer? I'm sure you've experienced that from some folks, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there'll be some pushback because they don't actually know where we're coming from, what happens. I had some big dreams for some little girls in Afghanistan that the Taliban won't let learn how to read and write because they're girls. And that just ticked me off. So instead of signing a petition, I just started buying tickets to Afghanistan. So I'm in and out of there constantly. And we've got 2 schools and we're teaching little girls how to read and write. But here's the thing, and I know you guys get this. God isn't dazzled when you go across the ocean. What blows his hair back is when you go across the street.
Yeah.
Love God with your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor right here where you are. That's where the good stuff happens. But do it in both places. It isn't binary, and I'm not doing it because I want applause. I want to do it because Matthew 25 said, hungry people, thirsty people, sick people, strange people, naked people, and people in jail. Did you know this? I teach at Pepperdine Law School, but I also teach at San Quentin Penitentiary. You should come with me sometime.
I will.
It'll blow your mind.
I will.
It's awesome. Yeah,
wait, the law school or the penitentiary? Just kidding.
Come to the penitentiary. Yeah. So the guy got out and he told me that he's standing on the outside of the wall at San Quentin. I'm like, there's not like a trail of bed sheets tied together, right? And he was holding a phone and he called me. He'd never held a cell phone before. And he said, Bob, I'm out. And I said, in this big moment, I'm like, what are you thinking? And you know what he said? I've got pockets. What the heck? Because you can't have pockets. In San Quentin, in a particularly Hemingway-esque moment, I told him to be really careful about what you put in your pockets. That's what I would say to people who have big ambitions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've carried all this shame and guilt. You got more baggage than Delta Airlines. And I would say, be careful about what you put in your pocket. So just let some of these things go, bring them to Jesus, and to say, that's old me. I'm a new creation. I'm new Bob. I've spent 61 long years being old Bob. He's on the bus. New Bob.
That's
like,
great.
What can I get in with Bobby?
That's awesome, Bob. I appreciate it. Well, it's interesting. As a Schuller, we are big dreamers. My grandpa, one of my favorite lines from him that I have seen so true in my life is he said, if you build your dream will build you. I think there's really something about that dreaming brings hope and life to people, especially now when we're all in this lockdown with COVID-19 and all this despair over the abuse of people of color in America, and then on the other side there's sometimes riots and looting, and there's just so much anxiety and worry. It's hard to dream right now, but I think that if we as Americans of all stripes can come together and begin dreaming again and become that industrialized, visionary kind of people that I think we are always meant to be, I think that'll make a big difference in people's lives.
I think we just call that out of one another. I know you do that. You're calling out from people. You're giving them new names. When Peter blew it, Jesus didn't call him a blow it. He said, you're a rock. He said, I'm going to do this whole thing. And so to call that dream back out of you, God gave it to you. Let's dust that thing off. See, driving around the block.
Amen. Well, the book is called Dream Big, and the author is Bob Goff, and I want to recommend the book is available anywhere books are sold. Go get it today if you need some encouragement. Bob, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great to see you. Come on back up here.
I will. Thanks again, brother. We appreciate you, and enjoy that weather today.
All right. See you.
Take care. Bye.